like a bird on a tree. I'm just sitting here, I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small.
I just want to give a quick plug to some of my websites. My auction site, www.franchiseauctions.com. And then I recently opened a new auction site for higher end items called Franchise80s, and that's at www.franchise80s.net. Also, you can go on my new official website called Franchise80s.net. If you go there, you'll find links to all of my wonderful sites, including this YouTube channel, and that website is www.franchise80s.net. And then if you want to just come and watch my YouTube channel, that's franchise80s.com, www.franchise80s.com. And if you like the shirt that I'm wearing, be sure to check out www.80stees.com. That's a great place to find shirts like this one and other great shirts that have to do with the 80s, 90s, and pop culture. So. The WCW Nitro Grill, it opened up in the height of the Monday Night Wars, when WCW was the #1 wrestling company in the world and had beaten WWF at the time, or WWE. I can't remember how many weeks in a row for the top rating spot on cable television. It was just an incredible show, and it was an incredible time to be a pro wrestling fan. It was probably the best time to be a pro wrestling fan. It was amazing. I mean, the two biggest times in wrestling history were the mid to late 80s, 1986, the birth of Hulkamania, and then of course 1998 to 2000, the height of the Monday Night Wars, where these two biggest wrestling companies fought for wrestling supremacy, and WCW almost won that war. They ended up losing in the end, and Vince McMahon bought out the WCW, and wrestling's never been the same. But for a second there, WWE was sweating, because WCW, and they were putting out a better product all the way around. And I loved WCW. This was great. I'm a huge fan of LeBron James, and I bought when he first came, made it into the NBA, and his first cards were coming out. I went to a comic book store near my home called Amazing Comics, and I bought a bunch of boxes, Fleer Ultra boxes, to try to get a LeBron James rookie card, and I got one. Not only did I get his rookie card, there was three you can get: the regular rookie card, the gold medallion rookie card that was limited to only 500 made in the entire world, or the platinum medallion, which was limited to only 100 made in the entire world, only 100. And I opened the pack, and I got this one, the platinum medallion. It was numbered 71 of 100. This one, actually, I'm sorry, was numbered 67 of 100. I have a story about the 71 of 100, which I'll show you later when I come across it. But this card this card, I actually purchased this card on eBay for $276 there. I won the auction, and I ended up selling it for $2,000. This was the second card. This was the second time I sold this particular card on eBay. This is card number 65 of 100. I'm sorry, 65 of 100. The original one I got from a pack, which I only paid $10 from the pack at Amazing Comics, and it was 71 of 100, and that was the first one that I ever sold. So this is the second one I sold. This was the first one I sold. This is my son when he was younger, holding up the LeBron James card before I shipped it out. This was the same card, platinum medallion, but it was number 71 of 100. I got this out of a pack, a $10 pack, and I ended up selling it for $3,800. I put it on auction as for $5,000 or best offer, because there's only 100 of them in the world. I had no idea what it was worth, but I didn't want to sell it for too cheap, so I just put it at a really ridiculous price and let people make offers. And someone made an offer for $3,800, and I sold it. The Ultimate Nintendo Guide to the NES Library. This book is a definite must-have for anyone who loves Nintendo, who's into Nintendo, who's into collecting Nintendo. This has every North American release for Nintendo they've ever come out with, and detailed information on every game, pictures of the games and the cartridges and the boxes, and it's just a great book to have. The next one is Arcade Fever, another great book for the arcade machines. And this book is this has been out of print for a while, so it's pretty pricey. It costs you about $150 on eBay. The next one is my favorite book, which is the Encyclopedia of Game Machines, Consoles, Handhelds, and Home Computers from 1972 to 2005. This book, I believe, was published in the UK, so it's pretty hard to find here in the United States. And it runs you about $60-$70. Kind of expensive book, but well worth it. I mean, this has pictures and information on some of the first computers that were made for video games, all the way to some of the consoles in 2005. I've done my research, and some of these toys have sold for this much, and people are asking this much, but they're also selling for this much. If you go to sold or completed listings under eBay. I have a video on how to properly search on eBay. You could see what things are actually really going for, not just what people are asking for them. So all of these that I'm about to show you, I've verified that they have sold for this or even more money in the past. So let's start off with the Greatest American Hero Mego 8-inch prototype. This is a very, very, very rare figure. It was never released, never hit a store shelf. It was just a prototype. To make a long story short, on one of my other videos, I talk about my 3.5-inch Mego Greatest American Hero action figure, which is very rare in itself. It's not a prototype, but it was a very, very limited release because back in the early 80s, Mego, who was a very well-established company by that point, and they specialized in their 8-inch figures, but they also had some release of smaller figures and play sets and other stuff like that. That's where my Greatest American Hero figure comes in. They were kind of having financial trouble and on their way out, and they got the Greatest American Hero contract, so they were planning to do a huge line of toys for them, and they were hit. Or actually, Greatest American Hero was hit with a lawsuit from DC. DC was stating that Greatest American Hero Ralph character specifically was infringing on the intellectual property of Superman. It was too much like Superman, so they sued them. And all that legal trouble. A lot of the toy companies didn't want to get involved. They had licenses from DC already making Superman figures. Mego was even making Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman figures, so they kind of didn't want the trouble. They had already released some of the Greatest American Hero small figures and play sets. Just a few, not a lot went out, but they released some to KB Toys only, so it was only a KB you can get them, which that makes that figure very, very rare and expensive. I mean, that action figure goes from anywhere between $700 to $1,500, and then this figure they were going to release, but they never had a chance to because of the legal ramifications. They just didn't want to lose the licenses, especially since they were having financial trouble. And so they never released this figure. So the only way that this figure ever made it to the hands of a collector is because someone in the company had to have taken it, and then it ended up in the secondary market, years later. And today it fetches a hefty amount of money. $14,500 is what this person is asking for them. I've seen one that was graded, sell for $17,000. There was actually one sold for, I think, almost $20,000 on the Toy Hunter TV show, and it was, I think, it was sold to the owner of Tap Out Clothing. So it is a lot of high-end collectors, people who have a lot of money. Obviously, people who own big companies like Tap Out, are going to have the money to buy a $20,000 action figure. So this is a very rare figure, and it's a great example of how a toy could be worth a lot of money. It could be a great investment. I mean, a lot of people, they don't know, they might pass this up in the yard sale and someone's asking $50 for it. They would be like, wow, that's way too much for that, forget it. And little do they know that it could be worth, $17,000, $18,000. Now, more than likely, this is going to end up in a yard sale, but you never know. Someone collector could have had it, paid a lot of money for it, then they die, their family does have no idea what they have, and boom, it's sold at an estate sale or a yard sale. You never know. There's people who've come up on some crazy stuff just like that. First thing I found here, or the main thing, which is this really cool Jeffrey the Giraffe Toys R Us Jack-in-a-Box, made by Mattel, as you can see here. Mattel, right? And it's just a beautiful item. Anything Toys R Us is so hard to get. You can see it says Toys R Us and Jeffrey. It has a Mattel logo. It has a Toys R Us logo. It still works, Although I don't want to do it too much because I don't want to break it. But this is from 1973. It's a year older than I am. It's just an incredible find, and I got it for such a great price. And it's one of my favorite items in my collection because I have fond memories of Toys R Us. I grew up, with Toys R Us, as many of you did, and just to have something that's just old like this is kind of historic, especially since Toys R Us is now out of business. But you can just see right here, it says 1973, Mattel Incorporated, made in Mexico, printed in the United States, all rights reserved. It's just a great piece. I really love this item. I can't tell you how much I love this item. It's one of my favorite pieces. Coming up, I think at the end of the month, AEW is launching their first pay-per-view. And
yeah, okay.
Okay, wait.
I don't see what a big deal everybody's making about this AEW root beer or AEW root beer, whatever the heck it's called.
What? Root?
Okay.
What?
Why does everybody make it a big deal? Like it's such a great thing that AEW is being launched. Why is that such a great thing when no other great things have been come around? Look at TNA or Impact, whatever it's called, and all these other companies. Why is everybody making such a big deal about this AEW? I just don't get it.
Because, Richard, this is another company, another wrestling company that we're going to have to go against the WWE. The WWE's been like a monopoly for the longest time, and the reason why people are excited.
Yeah, but there's already wrestling companies that are out there.
None that matter. None that really matter. And this.
And what, AEW doesn't even exist yet. Do you think it matters?
I mean, you got to start somewhere, right?
Well, what's wrong with all these other companies that are out there?
I mean, when I'm sure nobody thought WCW Monday Night Show was going to do anything when they first came out in Mall of America.
But WCW was already established. It was like NWA,
the
WCW.
NWA.
That was already around. The only thing that they did was go on Monday. That was it. But they already existed. This is something that hasn't even begun yet.
They existed, but wait, let me tell you what the NWA was at the time. At the time that Ted Turner had bought them, and that Eric Bischoff was looking to go head to head with the WWE. All that the NWA was one of the last big companies that Vince McMahon hadn't conquered yet. He was buying territories up. He was, putting all these companies out of
WCW, right? Didn't that turn into WCW?
Yeah, so he was buying up all his competition, and just that's why WWF at the time got so big, and the NWA was the last remaining little company that they were battling, and you knew that they were never going to be as close. They were not the obvious number two, right? And eventually probably would have been swallowed up by the WWF. And then Eric Bischoff came along, and he almost took a bite out of the WWF. I mean, with when he pretty much launched NWA and launched it into WCW, which they were already known as WCW, but he put them on prime time, and he went against the WWE at the time. He actually gave them competition, and they became a juggernaut. But at the point before that, in like 1995 or 1996, or even before Hogan got there, close like in 92, nobody thought that the NWA was anything of any significance. Just like AEW, nobody thinks that that's significant. I mean, some people do. I just think their price point for the pay-per-view is ridiculous.
NWA existed and WCW existed. It came out of that, but AEW is not even started yet.
Yeah, I know, but you have to start somewhere.
I don't see them as a threat. If these companies that are already out there,
they're not a threat.
New Japan, TNA, Impact, whatever it's called, those cannot even be a competition to WWE. Then what does people think AEW is going to do?
Yeah, well, they're not a threat yet. They're not a threat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there never will be. I got news for you, pal.
Well,
There
they
never
might
will
be. You don't know. I mean, I don't think they will, especially the way they're starting off. Their price point for their pay-per-view is $50. It's $49.99. Why in the world would you charge $50 for your wrestling pay-per-view when you're not even established yet? When everybody else can watch the WWE pay-per-views for free if they have the WWE network, they're only paying
Well, it's not
$10.
for free. I mean, you don't
Well,
get pay-per-views for free.
Not for
get
you do get them for free if you have the WWE network. I mean, you're paying for that nine
Yeah,
ninety
so that's
nine.
not free.
It's not
That's
free.
not free.
Not free. You're paying $9.99 a month for their service, their streaming service. Well, technically you could say it's free because what you're doing is you're paying $9.99 for their streaming service, for their content library, and because you're paying the $9.99 to get their live streaming content library, what they're doing is they're giving you the pay-per-views, the live pay-per-views, for free. I mean, that's their business model at that point. You're getting the WWE pay-per-views for free because if you don't have the WWE network content, live streaming network, you would have to pay $49.99 for those pay-per-views. You'd have to buy them on DirecTV, and you'd have to pay for them. But because you're a fan,
ask you a question. Do you think people subscribe to that network because they want to get the pay-per-views for free, or do they subscribe to it to watch the old tapings and the old pay-per-views?
I think both. I think that there's a vast majority of people who subscribe to the WWE network because of all the great content that you can get on there, and it's amazing. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, it's a dream come true. Imagine if I would have told you back in the day when we were buying Pro Wrestling Illustrated, right? And we were buying those magazines, and we were just huge fans. If I would have told you that there was going to be this streaming service where you could get all this content, you could watch all these episodes of WWE Saturday Night or WCW Saturday Night, WWE Monday Night Raw, WWE Superstar Saturday Night's Main Event, what would you say? And I told you it was going to be $30 a month. What would you say? I'm in, right? Take my money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're doing it for $10. That's amazing. And who knows? Maybe you're right. And maybe in 5, 6, 7, 8 years, maybe 10 years, they'll add another tab to that, and it'll be the AEW content.
I look at it like this. I don't see the AEW being a threat. I hope it's a good product. I hope you do really well. It'd be nice to have a different option to the WWE if you're not into the WWE right now.
Yeah.
But for people to be going and saying that they're going to be competition and they're going to give them a run for their money, maybe not now, maybe years from now, if they are successful, who knows, maybe that might happen again. But for all I know, it's just a company that is starting out. Let's see what happens. I could be wrong. I mean, but everyone online can also be wrong too. So
yeah. I'm
just waiting to see what happens because I have yet to see anybody to come up and give them a competition.
Yeah.
And I said it before, is that I just hope that they're their own thing. I hope they don't try to be a carbon copy of WWE.
Yeah.
They should do their own thing, develop their own following, and go from there.
Yeah.
And then maybe WWE will wake up again and realize, hey, you know what, we're losing viewers or we're losing fans, and we gotta start doing it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just gonna have that wait and see attitude, But I just think it's weird that everybody just talks about this like this is like the greatest thing in pro wrestling.
Well, it's not weird. People do that. They get hyped and excited for things. There's not much in wrestling right now to get excited over, so this is something you can get excited over. Download the eBab. Go on it. Go around your basement, your attic, your garage, and pick something up. Search for it on eBay. Find out how much it's worth. And instead of having a garage sale and selling it at the garage sale for pennies on the dollars, and letting somebody like me, some treasure hunter like me, come to your garage sale and buy it and flip it. You could do it yourself, throw it on eBay, take something that you thought was worthless that you were going to get a quarter for, and sell it for $20, sell it for $15, because it's possible. You don't know the value of your stuff. Value appreciates and depreciates. And if you have stuff that you haven't looked at for 5, 10, 15 years, you have no idea what it's worth, right? My eBay page now is kind of has evolved into an eclectic mesh of vintage and rare items, to some of the new and current and exciting items that you have now, and not just toys, but collectibles of any kind, advertising art, anything that I find collectible and entertaining. There's a wide variety of items and products, from items that are only $4 or $5 to items that are $4,000 and $5,000. And my franchise 80s eBay store evolved so much that I had to change the name. I mean, Franchise80s is my parent company. It's the name of my YouTube channel, and it's associated with most everything that I do as far as my online presence. But my eBay page, my eBay store, is actually now called Franchise Auctions, because I focus on all sorts of great stuff, not just things from the 80s. For wrestling. So, would you go to the past or to the future? Woo! The time machine. Well, obviously, since I'm here from the future, I would have to answer that if I had a time machine or a way to travel through time, right, I would probably go to the past. I think most people would. I think we've talked about that on the show before. But this is definitely something I always want to do. I want to come back to the show and be on my own show before it became the huge, gigantic success that it becomes in the future. So it's kind of cool to be here where I first started, and in your little show that you have here before it becomes gigantic and worldwide as it is in my future, my timeline. So yeah, I say I would have to pick the past. Alrighty, okay. Well, today I wanted to show you action figure that I found while I was out treasure hunting earlier this week. He's right here in this cabinet, right behind me. The 1979 Hulk Mego action figure. Let's take a closer look. Okay, so let's take a closer look at this action figure, this awesome action figure I found. Alright, he's right here in my my little toy shrine, I call it. He isn't a permanent resident, though. He's not going to be staying because he's up for sale. I'm going to be selling him on eBay. You can check the auction out at www.franchiseauctions.com. Again, that's www.franchiseauctions.com. He is a pretty rare figure. He was made in 1979 by Mego. Really heavy. He's made out of metal. But he's pretty unique because I've been doing this for about 20 years. I go to all sorts of places. I mean, flea markets, collectible stores, toy stores, you name it, I've been there. I treasure hunt every week looking for my next treasure that I can put in my toy room here, as you can see. And out of all the years that I've been doing this, I've never seen one of these in person. This is the first one I've seen. So he's pretty rare. In the box, he can fetch anywhere between $300 to $500. depending on the condition. I've seen it sell for that much on eBay. Loose, I would say I've seen some sell anywhere between 150 to 220, depending on the condition. This guy is in really good condition. I mean, this is a well over 30-year-old toy. And he's in really good condition. I mean, it says 1979 Mego Corporation on the back, and there's really no paint scuffs. I mean, he's even got a gold tooth. That's kind of cool. So the particular card that I sold this day was a autograph rookie patch numbered to only 50 in the world, and this particular card was number 23 of 50, which is his jersey number, which makes it almost one of a kind, right? There wasn't any really market value for the card. It just depends on what people are willing to pay for it. So the Beckett price is so rare that there really wasn't even in the Beckett catalog. So some cards that were similar to this card were selling online anywhere between $2,000 to $5,000. Then I got an offer on OfferUp. Someone was willing to give me $5,000 for the card. I went ahead and accepted that, obviously, because I felt that was the maximum amount of money I could possibly get for that card, even though it was so rare. Look, I'd rather have $5,000 for it. So, transaction went down okay. I got the money, and I missed the card, but I'm glad that I was able to sell it and that I got the money. And I've sold quite a few LeBron cards over the years, and it's been one of my greatest money makers has been LeBron James cards.
You guys wouldn't believe that this card is worth $5,000. LeBron James, actual signature, actual jersey. Y'all thought I was playing? Y'all thought I was fucking playing? God.
One of my favorite.
Speaking of which,
One of my favorite Kenner figures. Probably my favorite Kenner figure.
oh, is it?
Because I waited for months to get this thing when I was a kid. I'm going to show it to everybody right here. I'm going to unveil it. Anakin Skywalker. Special, exclusive mail away. You can only get this figure by I think buying, I don't know how many.
Purchase, I think it must have been 3 or 4.
Yeah, and then you mail away the proof of purchase.
Does it say back there? No.
No, what does it say? Free Anakin Skywalker. We're reading the back of it here. Okay. Free Anakin Skywalker action figure from Star Wars Return of the Jedi with the purchase of any 5 Star Wars action figures. So I buy 5 figures. So I bought 5 figures and then cut the little points off the back and sent it away with, I don't know, whatever shipping costs at the time.
They would typically send them in a little white box wrapped in plastic, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's all it really was.
And it took like 6 months. I would come home every day from school, checking the mailbox, and I wouldn't get it. I gave up hope after like 4 months.
Why would you think it took so long?
I don't know, but I gave up hope. I was like, I'm never gonna get this figure, And then one day it was in my mailbox. I got home from school and it was there, out of the blue. Oh, I was so excited. I opened it up. It wasn't like any of the figures they had. It was really cool. It was the only one with the robe. It was pretty awesome.
And what I like about it is that it's not like the translucent blue Force Ghost type. It's an actual figure that blends in with the other figures, right?
Yeah. It's you can see the back of it there. There's the proof of purchase thing you cut out and stuff. But I loved it. I mean, even the details of the blue eyes, and it was awesome because it's a figure of a character that you see very quickly. He's not there for very long. You see him at the very end of the movie. You don't really get to spend much time seeing this character, so you get a little bit of an image of him, and then you actually get the action figure. It's kind of cool.
But you gotta think about, like, when you look at that figure, who he was, before we see him as that, because even when, as Darth Vader, when he's like on the loading ramp of the shuttle and he takes the mask off, it's still the same actor, that the figure was portrayed after, but so you still see a little image of him in it.
Yeah. Well, the face sculpt is so good for being. I mean, this is 1980. This is 1985, right? 1985 figure, and the scan and the face sculpt is so good. I mean, it really looks like the actor who played Anakin.
Sebastian Shaw.
Is that his name?
Sebastian Shaw.
Sebastian Shaw. Okay, it really looks like Mr. Sebastian. It's really a really well-made figure. I gotta do a top 10 all-time figures. This guy would be way up there. He's one of my favorite figures. So
Definitely a top 5 for me.
Yeah, he'd be way up there for sure. Top 5 maybe. And Toys R Us was great at the time because they always had something special that they would be doing. It wasn't just selling the toys, but you'd go to Toys R Us, and on certain days, they would have characters there. They would have Jeffrey the Giraffe would be walking around the store. One time they had I remember that He-Man and Skeletor were there. I think I have some pictures here that I found on the internet that show He-Man and Skeletor at Toys R Us. And they had, Stormtroopers and Star Wars characters walking around. They always had some sort of event or promotion where you can go to Toys R Us and meet some of these characters and take pictures with them. And so as a kid, that was awesome. I mean, you get that stuff when you go to Disneyland or when you go to the mall to visit Santa Claus or to take your picture with Darth Vader and a stormtrooper, at the mall or something like that. But to get that at a place like Toys R Us, when you're already excited to go there because you're going to buy toys, but now you get to meet some of these characters, take your picture with them, and then go and buy their action figure, so that you can go home and play with their action figure. That was awesome. That's just, the experience of that was pretty cool. You just didn't have that type of experience in any other department store. That kind of stuff was exclusive pretty much to Toys R Us. And like I said,
I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. They got a million toys at Toys R Us that I can play with. I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. They got the best for so much less. You really flipped your lid.
From bikes to trains to video games, we've been with you through all these years. Let's never grow up, keep doing like we did, so you'll always be a Toys R Us kid. Once a Toys R Us kid,
Always a Toys R Us kid.
to Star Wars. I wanted to ask you, have you seen these YouTube videos, or there's a YouTube video showing the fight scene between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader from the original?
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen it? It was like redone?
Yeah, it was awesome. I think it looks pretty cool.
Doesn't it look good? It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you could take that part of the movie and, well, really, it's not a remake. Is it a remake of it, or is it just footage showing us footage that we didn't see because they were cutting off to Luke and everything else? Because there was a scene where you see them fighting and then they cut out and where they're doing something else. So they didn't really remake that. They're just showing more of the fight that you didn't see. Because first you see Obi-Wan and Darth fighting, and then you see them towards the end where he kind of holds up his lightsaber and lets them strike him down. There's a whole chunk of a fight that's missing. So is this that chunk? Or is this the whole thing redone?
No, well, the whole thing was, it's, wow, you're making me speechless here. The whole thing is redone, but there are parts of the movie that you say is cut away, but but some of the parts that we see between Vader and Obi-Wan added. It's still added in there.
Yeah.
I think that, when you look at the original movie, you don't see those parts. It was added in.
Yeah.
For the fan, whoever the person that made that scene added all those clips in.
Yeah.
I think it looks pretty cool. Somebody posted it to me, and I thought it was really cool, and I was watching it over and over again.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. I don't know who did that or what, but I think it was amazing. So, yeah, pretty awesome.
Yeah. They took a generally bland lightsaber fight between Obi-Wan and Vader, and made it look like something that would probably take place in a more modern Star Wars film.
Yeah, I think that was the whole point. I think that, and it's funny because we were talking about that. Remember, I think we were talking about that, and I said, "What would you prefer if they fought like they did in the new episodes, episode 1 through 3, or if they fought like they did in the original trilogy?" I think you said you prefer them in the original trilogy.
Yeah, because supposedly they were fighting more two-handed.
Yeah, two-handed.
Because according to George Lucas, he said that they were supposed to be a heavy moving those lightsabers. So
I think they kind of kept to that tradition in this remake, or the remake that they did, because Obi-Wan still looked like he was mostly wielding that thing two-handed. Now Darth Vader twists it a little bit and uses one hand, but he's supposedly much stronger. And he's got robot parts in him, or cyborg, who knows, whatever you want to call it, right? Cyborg. He's like half cyborg.
Yeah. Who, Vader?
Vader.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. He's a cyborg.
Yeah, he's a cyborg. If I can give some more advice, I would encourage anyone who's watching this video who wants to buy and sell on eBay or anywhere else to just go out and do it. Don't let anybody tell you you can't do it, because you can. You can make money doing this. You can be successful doing this. You follow your passion, and usually, if you're passionate about something, and you do your homework and you work hard at it, you can achieve your goals, and it's a lot of fun. And at the very least, you can grow your collection. It's a great way to grow a collection as well. Some people might want to do it for money, but other people might want to do it just because they want to grow their collection without having cost a lot of money. I've done that over the years. Where I've been able to grow my collection, I'll want something really bad, and so what I'll do is I'll sell something that I have, and so I can purchase what I want to buy, or I'll purchase a lot of things because I want one of them. So I'll purchase 5 or 6 of them, and I'll keep one for myself and sell the other 5. Right? So then that pays for the one I kept, plus makes me a little bit of extra money. So thank you guys for watching. Here's my booth here at Frankenstein's. When I first started out, I just had a table, and then I ended up having a booth like this one here. And then eventually it grew into this booth right here, which is a double booth. And I mainly focused on wrestling. I had a lot of wrestling, although I had other stuff. It was wrestling, and most of the stuff though was newer toys. But there were newer toys that had to do with the 80s, with the toy lines of the 80s and the shows of the 80s and the franchises of the 80s. So it was always based on the 80s, and it was the Frankenstein's Collectibles show. They're open on Wednesdays
and Saturdays. It's only 2 days a week. So I would go and I would do the show on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, but I did notice that I was almost spending more money than I was making, because I would get somebody to work my booth, and then I would walk around the show and I'd buy from other collectors and stuff. I mean, that's the curse of being a collector. You're trying to run a business, but you're also a collector. So I would end up buying stuff, and then even trading and things like that. But one of the cool things too is by having a booth there, a lot of people would come up to the booth and try to sell me some of their items. So I would be able to acquire some pretty cool stuff. And eventually what I started doing is I started listing more on eBay while I was there at the booth, and I was growing on eBay, and so I found it more profitable to just sell online and not have the overhead of the price I was paying, and then also the hassle of having to go there and work the booth and stuff. So I eventually closed it down, and I just started selling online exclusively, and that worked out, and it's working out now. I think I'm exaggerating it, because I don't think we put a chair in to the cart, and then you got on top of the chair the cart.
I was standing on something in this cart.
It was squirrely, though. Yeah, it was squirrely, because I was holding...
Yeah, I was 215 pounds standing in a shopping cart trying to reach some box off the top shelf.
Yeah. And then we got the box. Well, we didn't even reach the box. You just knocked it down.
Yeah, I knocked all of them down. And there's like 6 boxes on the ground, and we just kind of opened what we wanted and got the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah. That was a good store.
It was the Mission Viejo Toys R Us.
That's where we learned that's where we learned the difference between the stores. Did you know there's a difference between the Toys R Us?
No, what's the difference?
Because there's A stores, there's B stores, and there's C stores. So the Toys R Us in Cerritos was a B store, right?
I believe so.
I think it was a B store. The Mission Viejo was an A store, and the A stores have way more merchandise. They order almost double the amount as the B stores, so you have a better chance of finding chase pieces and other things.
And then I think the malls were like C stores, where it was a lot of almost like a pop up.
Yeah, or the Toys R Us Express at the Citadel. That was a C store. They don't hardly have shit.
So that's where the leftover inventory goes to, probably one of those stores.
Yeah, or they just don't order as much.
Oh, okay.
So imagine there's a chase piece like I was talking about, like this Sith Trooper, right? And he's just one out of 12 that's in the case. Well, if you got an A store and you got 3 cases, then there's going to be
potentially 3 of those chase pieces.
Potentially, right?
Whereas a B store would probably only have 1 or 2.
Yeah. I go to a lot of estate sales and garage sales during the week, flea markets, all that stuff, to look for my wonderful treasures that I find. And estate sales are one of my favorite things to go to, because you get to go in the house and see all the amazing stuff that people have and have collected throughout the years. Unfortunately, usually an estate sale happens when someone is in dire need of money, or they pass away, and then so they have to just sell everything that's in the house for usually very, very bad reasons. But as a collector or a reseller, it's great to go in and be able to get some pretty cool deals and stuff. This last estate sale that I went to, you can see I have some pictures of it on the screen there. It was pretty cool to look at. A lot of the stuff, they had a lot of big items. I tend to like smaller items because I sell items on online auctions mostly. That's the number one thing I do, eBay. And you can check out my eBay page at www.franchiseauctions.com. And so I like small items because they're easier to ship. And
some of the bigger items and stuff, although it'd be great to be able to purchase something like a pinball machine and get it restored and refurbished and be able to sell it. That is a little bit more difficult. You need a lot of room to do that, and then you also have the place to actually sell it at, like a storefront or a collectible show or something like that. So it makes it a little bit harder. But every now and then, when I find large items that I think are really super good deal, I can't pass up, I usually pick them up. So if anybody, if you guys are ever interested in going to estate sales, you guys need to check out www.estatesales.com. That's one of the places where I can find great listings in my area for estate sales. Another awesome website is Craigslist. You just go on Craigslist and type in estate sales, and you'll find a lot of cool listings for the estate sales and stuff that are out there. Same thing for the yard sales and garage sales.